viewers, so I am back with a new chapter of class 8, that is the best Christmas present in the world, which is the first chapter of class 8. So let's see what this chapter has in store for you. This chapter is written by the author Michael Morpurgo. He was born on 5th October 1943 in England. He was a children author. He had written almost 120 books on children. He wanted to highlight the children literature. He has established a children laureate from 2003 to 2005. Now I would tell you that why does the author have written this chapter. The author was a war baby born in 1943. As he grew up, he found that how much the war is disruptive to the life and the people. He had seen that not only the buildings were destroyed, but the people were also killed. So, to stop its effect, he wanted to spread the awareness among people that war and fight are not the source of peace. War continues to divide people, to change them forever, and he writes about it both because he wants people to understand the absolute futility of war. Now let's know about the chapter. Here are 4 main characters. First one is the narrator, who is the author himself, Michael Morpurgo. Next is Connie Macpherson, who is the wife of Jim Macpherson. Jim Macpherson himself, hence Wolf. I will tell you in detail in next slide. So this is a story with the background of war, and which war it depicts I am telling you. There are 2 world wars. First world war that began in July 1914 and it ended up in November 1918. Second world war, which was started in September 1939 and it ended up in September 1904. So this chapter is associated with the First World War and its effect. And after that, its reunion with the families of the soldiers. Now let's know about the characters. So he is Jim Macpherson. He is the captain of the British regiment during World War I. He is also very young and ambitious. Before joining the army, he was a school teacher from Dorset, England. He was not in favor of war, but in spite of that, as he was performing his duty for his country, so he joined the army. He was very brave and courageous also. He was very responsible, and he had a loving wife whose name was Connie Macpherson. So let's know to Connie Macpherson. She is Connie Macpherson. At present in the chapter, she is 101 years old, who is still awaiting for her late husband. And she loved her husband Jim Macpherson very much. She used a candle instead of electricity because she thought that electricity is more expensive. She is a good baker also. On the Christmas Eve, she baked very delicious cakes. She lived in a nursing home waiting for her dead husband, as her house was burnt. So after burning her house, she lived in a nursing home. She was a muddle-headed. Muddle-headed means to say that she was very confused because of her age. Now let's know who was Hans Wolf. Hans Wolf was the captain of German troop. He was very friendly by nature, and before joining the army, he was a cello player in orchestra. Cello is a musical instrument like violin. He had a passion for books and football also, and he was a good English speaker. No doubt he had never visited England, but in spite of that, he was a good speaker and he had learned English and French in his school. See the plot of the chapter. Plot is the sequence of the events, that what happened after what. So at first, Michael Morpurgo had purchased a high-class desk from some dealer. So the story introduces at the home of the narrator, where the narrator had purchased a roll-top desk which is of high quality, but it is very old and badly repaired. After that, echoes of Christmas celebration at the time of First World War, that is 1914, in the trenches of army, where they were trying to create peace among the fear and destruction of war. Thirdly, the narrator's decision to hand over Jim Macpherson last letter to his wife, that is Connie Macpherson, and she got that letter. She met with the stranger. She was very happy and she called it the best Christmas present in the world. So let's know what was the best Christmas present, the letter or the stranger, the visitor who had visited her. These are the pictures of the trenches which the army soldiers used to dig in the soil. They used to dig the big holes in the soil to hide themselves and cover themselves from the upside so that nobody would be able to see them. And this is a picture of Christmas truce. So let's start our chapter. The gist of the chapter is that war and fights are means of destruction only. They never spread peace. In spite of that, negotiation and friendship, they spread peace among people. Secondly, kindness and empathy lead us to happiness and welfare of the mankind. Third thing is that in the story, the author's right decision to hand over Jim Macpherson last letter to Connie brought happiness on someone's face. So the right decision is very necessary at the right time. Let's read the chapter. Before you read, here are few of the dates given which are associated with one or another event. So the answers are given on page number 23. Just have an overlook on it. Now read the chapter. I spotted in a junk shop and report a roll-top desk. So the story started at the narrator's home, where the narrator wanted to purchase a roll-top desk of good quality, but it was too expensive, so he was not able to purchase a new. So he purchased an old roll-top desk. Do you know what is roll-top desk? You know, roll-top desk is that where it has a flexible cover top which can be opened, and the people used to keep their stuff in it, and while they feel to write, they just put the cover down and use it for writing. That is called a roll-top desk. So the author purchased an old roll-top desk which was of earlier 19th century, and it was made up of a fine oak wood. It was in the bad condition, and one of its legs was clumsily mended. Clumsily means unprofessionally. At home it was badly mended, badly repaired. It was not professionally mended. And on one side of it, at the downside, some burn marks were there. It seems that it was burned from somewhere. It was going for very little money, and the author purchased it in the little money. Then he thought that he would restore it, but it was really challenging for him, and it was in bad condition. So he paid to the man, and he brought the roll-top desk at his home, and he has kept it in a particular kind of room where he used that room for his official work only. So I began work on it on Christmas Eve. So it was Christmas Eve, and the author started working on it. Christmas, generally a Christian festival, but these days it is not bound to Christianity only, but it is celebrated in all over the world enthusiastically. So now the author said that I removed the roll-top desk completely and pulled out the drawers. So we can see in the picture, the 3 drawers are here. The author is pulling out the drawers, and the 2 are coming out very easily, but the third one, this was stuck inside, and it was comparatively very tight. So He assumed that it was damaged by water and fire both. So, but it was not actually decided. In the end, I used brute force. Brute force means to say that the complete strength of the body. So he used his strength of the body, and then I struck it sharply with the side of my fist. Likewise that he made the fist and just struck the drawer with the fist so that it will come out. And then it revealed a shallow space underneath. So then while the author struck it with the fist, it came out and it revealed a shallow space. You can see that this is the shallow space. Inside it, a black tin box is kept. And inside that box, the author found one letter. It was written on it in a shaky handwriting. Shaky means to say that which is not very clear, which is written very quickly. So it was written on it, Jim's last letter received on January 25, 1915. So it was Jim Macpherson's last letter which he had written to his wife, Mrs. Connie Macpherson, and the letter was last received on 25 January 1915. Just point out that the letter received on January 25, 1915. Then after that it was written, to be buried with me when the time comes. So just guess who has written this? Definitely this must be written by Connie Macpherson, because it was very precious letter for her, and she had written on that letter that while I will die, at that time this letter to be buried with me. I knew as I did it that it was wrong of me to open the box. It is not a good habit to open someone's confidential letters or any other document. So that idea came to author's mind. But the curiosity to know that was much higher. He thought that he must open, but actually he did not want to open.
But curiosity got the better of my scruples. Scruples means to say that the feelings that make you hesitate to do something wrong. So on one side, the narrator hesitated to open the box, but on the other side, there was much curiosity to open it. So at the end, the narrator opened the box. Inside the box, there was an envelope, and the address was written on the envelope, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, 12 Copper Beaches, Bridport, Dorset. So I took out the letter and unfolded it. The narrator said that he took out the letter from the box and he opened it. Unfolded means open it. And it was written in pencil. With pencil, the date was written on the top of the letter, and which was the date? December 26, 1914. So, at the time of First World War, 1914, Jim Macpherson had written this letter just after the day of Christmas, that is 26 December, on the next day of Christmas celebration. So this is the end of the first part of the chapter. Second and third part I will share in the next video. Just watch it.